Boa tarde a todos, bem-vindos a mais Conversas a Granel, da Escola de Comércio de Lisboa. Hoje temos connosco uma convidada muito especial, uma oradora muito especial, diretamente da Suíça, Claudia Vece, que nos vem falar sobre o bem-estar em tempos de pandemia, o que é muitíssimo importante. So, live from Switzerland, hello Claudia, how are you?
Hi Katarina, thank you, I'm fine, and you?
Hello, thank you so much for being here with us, for being here in Conversas a Granel with our school, Escola de Comércio de Lisboa. I know that for me personally it's a huge pleasure to be talking to you once again, virtually obviously now, but to be here and to be able to share with all our viewers everything that you have to say, which is huge. Okay, so before giving you the floor, just let me say that Claudia is a neuro trainer and mental coach. She's the founder and CEO of Conversas, and she's also the best-selling author of, and let me see if I say this right, Trasformazione neuroemozionale. Is it good?
Yes, which in English is neuroemotional transformation.
Exactly, which is in Amazon, right? So for everyone to see if they are willing to. So Claudia is going to talk to us about well-being in times of coronavirus, COVID-19. And we all know how paramount this issue is for everybody, as we're dealing with all these changes in our daily life. We're seeing increasing fear and anxiety and sadness and even anger, right? And due to all of these changes, we're talking about the closure of schools, the lockdown, the thing that we are being apart from our loved ones and from our families, and maybe we are afraid of losing our jobs and our companies, and so we are facing really challenging times. So I'm pretty sure that Claudia will bring us a new light on how to cope with these new challenges, right, Claudia?
Thank you, Caterina, for this warm welcome. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to working with you, and I would like, of course, also to thank the management of the School of Commerce of Lisbon and the Encinos Group for having me here, and of course for always bringing up those initiatives that I believe are essential for your students and families, and also for trainers and teachers. You're always really bringing some support and awareness, and this is really, for me, an honor to be here with you today and be able to discuss this important topic of well-being during COVID and lockdown. Of course, as you said, I am a mental coach and a neuro trainer. So here today, we would like to talk about how to improve our well-being. Of course, it's not a psychological support or a therapy. This we have to say for those people that are really in suffering and they need support. But what really we want is try to find out a bit together how we can maybe manage better our life and do something starting from within ourselves. And during this moment, look, I've been working, I work a lot with companies and people, and I realize more and more that COVID really bring stress in the life of people, and people are overwhelmed, they are really upset, and it's a kind of, they lost the helm of the boat. And so we try here in this moment to bring back responsibility to us and try to put a bit of lights, as you said, and try to give a bit of hope, and also what are the daily routine that we can put in place to actually develop our well-being and do something starting from ourselves. So,
right, so hands-on, right?
Yes,
things
exactly.
that we can do. Great.
Of course, because the thing is, Katarina, if we expect or we think that life at certain point will be easier or serene or relaxed, this is an illusion, because the life will always challenge us. And so we need to be prepared to the unpredictable moments. And so we need to invest on ourselves. And many people expect that is the whole environment around them to bring well-being and peace and comfort. And in this society, we always expect comfort to be out there, but actually it's not like this. We need really to take responsibility in our life and do something from our own.
That is so true.
Exactly. So what I'm gonna do, I would like maybe to share some slide here with you. Let's start from this simple slide. Why? Because now it's a year that we are in lockdown. It was March 2020 when we first started to be at home and the COVID arrived in Europe. So due to this sudden change, also our routines and our habits had a shift. So basically the way we relate to people, our social dynamic had to change, even the working methods. And of course, for you, the training had to change. Students had to adapt to working from home, and also our free time and activities. So this COVID coming from the outside actually influence our life, our habits, and our routines. And most of all, I would like to say, are the closest relationship that have been touched a lot, because our families and our friends were a safe harbor where we used to go for sharing moments, feeling trust and loved. And suddenly we could start to see them as a risk for our health also. And so this generate a feeling of mistrust, a feeling of fear. And all these feelings actually shift the mind of people and also the emotional state. And our environment, it is really important for us. And look, I just listed something that you can find easily also in internet. When we decide to change something in our life, for example, someone goes through a divorce, or actually they get married, or there is a newborn in life, only when we decide to operate a change, this generates stress. Right? Now let's think about COVID coming from the outside. So it was unpredictable. We didn't choose to change things. And it was so sudden that automatically shift our life and influence our routine. So when the brain faces a situation that cannot forecast, cannot predict, the stress, pardon me, it's really high. And this is why people started to suffering, and they lost the ability to keep their mind and their emotion in balance. And this is why now we're facing a situation not only of crisis in terms of work or economy, but also as social and well-being. And so the environment, and here I show you another slide that I think is really a metaphor, right, contributes to support our well-being and balance and influence us. Here I put a goldfish. Now let's try to give this example. If we have a goldfish in the water is its own environment. But if we start to put some ink in the water, what happened to the goldfish? The goldfish starts to suffer. The goldfish, yeah, exactly, start to put in place behaviors, right? We're gonna see something that we never seen before. And so this is how the environment impact our life. So to have stability in our environment, it's really important. But there is something. Human being has a different brain from animals. And so it gives us something that we can act and react, because our brain produces a mind that is different. So for example, we have the awareness of existing in an historical period, in a time. We have critical thinking, we have memory, creativity, intuitions, and so, and moreover, we have responsibility and self-awareness. And why this is really important to understand? Because we are different from animals. So when our environment change, we can act and react on our environment. We are not as victim as animals, that they cannot plan, strategize to escape. They have only instinct. And so here I bring into this conversation one important topic, which is what influence the most our well-being? Is it our environment, or is how we perceive change? And this is the key factors, because the way we think and we reasoning about event and circumstances change our inner state, our reality. And I will guide you to understand this, because it's important. So when even our outside environment is changing, what we have a tool that is the way we perceive and we reason on what we are experiencing. And this is why during COVID, I'm sure many of people within our people that are listening, they could see that there are people that they react not well, but let's say in balance. Even if the COVID came and the routines were upside down, they could keep like a positive mindset, an optimistic personality. They could face somehow the situation with a mind focus. They went on with their job without losing the track. And whereas we had people, and the majority, I would say, that start to suffer and start to lose their focus and start to develop a mindset that is more pessimistic, not see anymore how we're gonna do. And there is a say that I put on my slide that you could read. It is the quality of life depends on the quality of the life of the mind. And so this summarizes a bit the concept that I want to give. So of course the environment is changing. Of course we cannot change things. Yes, it was unpredictable and sudden. The thing is that we have a mind and we can create and perceive in a different way. We can act and react. And this converge through self-responsibility, Katarina. Self-responsibility means taking action to improve our well-being, to try to find strategies, to try to say, okay, I don't position myself as a victim. It might be a way to keep a balance and go through something that I cannot change.
I remember, sorry for interrupting you, Claudia, but I remember you telling us that the way we feel and the way we think are two different buttons to our brain, right? So, which means that our brain makes its own reality, right? It creates its own reality. And this is so huge when you think of it, because our brain doesn't know the difference between what is true and what is false. So if, you just say something to your brain and it plays along, right? And that's it. So it means that you can really create your reality. This is so powerful, isn't it?
It is, and we can give an example, then people can try to do it at home to understand what we are talking about. Because when we hear this in the first place, is really weird. We say, no, come on, that's not true. Reality is out there. But actually, if we would ask our public, for example, to close their eyes and to think with their mind, to go in their kitchen, to open the fridge, to take few lemons out because it's time for a lemonade, and to cut all those lemons into pieces and to feel the smell, and then take half a lemon and to bring to their mouth and taste it with their eyes closed while they're imagining what happened. They're gonna feel, most of them, here the mouth getting prepared to digest the lemon. But then you open your eyes and the lemon is not there. How come? And this is the difference. When we imagine something, when we say something to ourselves, our brain receive as a enter on your computer is a command. So if I say to myself things that create like dark reality, like a scary vision, of course I will feel scared. So it's up to us to understand how we function. It's up to us to understand how to have inner strategies to deal with this spectacular, I would say, software and hardware that we have, and understand.
Wonderful.
Exactly, because we can change things. But it's a process, of course. No one has a magic stick, and so we can talk about it. It's really wonderful, but then there are techniques, of course, to do that. Thank you for your... It's really wonderful. Let's go on. You were talking about the mind. So let's go deeper into this topic. We just gave the example of the lemon. So what does it mean? That the attention, okay, we can pose our attention on different things. And in our mind, we have an imaginary timeline. So with our mind, we can travel in our past and recall what happened today at school or at work. Then I can be in the present and live exactly here at the moment. And I can even travel to my future, so I can forecast what's going to happen tomorrow. I can tell myself, oh, maybe I'm going to lose my job. Or maybe I can say I'm going to do my best to keep my job. Are two different realities already, right? And so by moving the mind back and forward, we have to understand that the way we move our mind in a timeline and what we observe, and here I would like to propose you this slide, is that where we put our attention, we create energy in the body, so emotions. And here I put the timeline, so past, present, and future. So what can you see here? That if you put your attention, for example, in the past, I come home today and then I look back at my day and I put my attention on everything that did not function, that did not work, on my failure, on the thing that I didn't have today. Suddenly, my body will produce like sadness, resentment, guilt, helpless. And so I generate a type of energy. But if I come home and I try to observe my day and put my lens on the things that have been working, of course, on 10 things that didn't work, there are 10 others that work. It's up to me to decide where to put the attention. Okay? I will generate joy, confidence, proud, I will feel successful. Now, of course, we need to observe also what didn't get well, what didn't work. I'm not saying don't observe it. No, this is not correct. The difference is I observe, I acknowledge, and I toward my attention towards solutions. I use my mindset to bring solution. But if I observe and I stay in the problem and I start to say, and this could have done and be in a different way, I will go into the emotions. And when my brain is into a feelings, it creates its own reality. If I'm into sadness, I will live a sad moment, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So in the present,
this is sorry to, again to interrupt, but this is a bit, it's a step up to what we usually say of the half empty or half full glass, right? So, but it's a step up. It's something that we do more, right? Because you have to train yourself to do that as well, right? To focus a little bit about, to focus on the things that you can control and to let go of the things that you cannot control, right? Like, it doesn't matter, you cannot control, don't focus on that. But you can obviously focus on the things that you control, like your positive thinking and being kind to one another. And even in COVID, right, to be responsible, to do so, to maintain your social distancing and to wear your mask, whatever, but to focus on the things that you actually can control and the positive things, right?
Exactly, Katarina. And this makes the whole difference between an optimistic personality. An optimistic personality is the one that automatically, let's say, develop a mindset that observe the things that works and try to find opportunity, and it's driven by motivation and enthusiasm. And the pessimistic automatically put the attention on the thing that doesn't work, that could be different, even if they cannot change. And as you say, that there are things that we cannot control, but one thing for sure we can learn to control is our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And as we live until the end of our life, I think it's a big investment, to try to
huge investment.
It's not something we can escape. And I bring you back to the slide just to make you understand a bit, because I think it's interesting how we put our attention and how we generate emotions in the body, because maybe people don't know it. And by acting with a bit more awareness and try to observe their thoughts, maybe they can decide and say, okay, today I'm going to try, you know what, to feel in the present. When I'm in the present and I observe the things that I have, I start to feel grateful for what I have. I can feel satisfied and I can feel love. But if I'm in a situation, I imagine, suppose a student has to stay in Zoom to do a class, and while he's listening, he's saying to himself like, oh my God, it's so boring, I don't want to be here. He's gonna produce a sense of discomfort or frustration. Now, is that healthy? Not at all. And we will understand why. Not at all. Negative emotions, I will explain explain later, impact on our immune system, on our vitality, energy, mind focus, lucidity. So the way we feel, I mean, it's not there our feeling just because they're there. It's a complex mechanism that support our life. So we need to learn that when life brings us something, to appreciate, even if we would do something else in that moment, even if we would do something different, then we can always act to change, but welcome the experience, not refuse and reject. And in the future, for those that, for example, have a lot of anxiety, the brain is set to drive the attention on the thing they don't want. So for example, oh, I don't want that we stay at home another year. I don't want to miss holidays this summer, right? And I don't feel well. So maybe I can try to talk to myself in a different way because my brain is listening. And I can have two types of experience, even if I'm talking on the same subject.
This is so powerful, Claudia. I think I forgot to say that if anyone can ask, would like to ask some questions to Claudia, you can write down the questions and I will ask them to Claudia. So, and regarding this issue, I think that probably we can have one or two questions because this is really huge, right? And it's a bit life-changing, I think. It was a bit for me.
It's a practice. It's a practice. In fact, just to give you an example, my company, the name Quantasia, and the claiming is neuro-emotional education. So it's an education on the way we think, on how to train the brain and how emotions work. And when we go to gym, it's like a fitness on our emotion, on our mind. Life really make a shift. In a life of people, things start to shift. It's going to be more light, more possibility, more opportunity, more faith, more confidence, you know, like more strength, looking at our success, feeling love, feeling sharing. Those are feelings and create our inner environment. But it's not the only action, because let's go back to COVID. So of course, during COVID came unpredictable. So it shake us completely. And to take control of our emotions and, and the mind is a bit more difficult, but then we start to adapt because now it's a new normality. So we know what's going on. So we can take again control of our mind and our emotions and try to work on this. But something that influence us, and here I propose you another slide, are our good routines and habits. Why? Because we said that the brain stress in changes, right? So even if the outside world change, we can master some good routines and good habits that keep our brain working random and have safe zone where to pause. I give you some example here. I just put some example. For example, create a regular feminine meeting. You know, during COVID, people at home, they see each other all the time, and what they do, one eat alone, the other one close in the room, they maybe don't talk. Why don't you make an effort and create, I don't know, 7 p.m., a nice dinner all together, make like a nice routine where everyone jump in and we discuss about topics, or we do some games together, we can play cards or something, and we keep sharing. We keep ourselves well in the family with little routine. For example, the sleep, and this I want to talk to the youngest here that are listening. You know where the brain stress the most is jet lag. This is something he cannot face because as it works by routines, he knows during at night, you know, our organs activate, detoxify. So we have a biorhythm. And the brain has to know, I go to bed every night at 10:30, great. He knows, and he will keep us healthy. He will keep us mind focused. It will keep our stress down. But if one day I go to bed at 9, another day I go to bed at 3, another day I'm gonna go at 6 because I stay up all night to play, I don't know, video games, then of course I'm going to start to have anxiety, I'm going to start to have stress, I'm going to start not to feel well. So sleep is one of the most important thing to recharge battery and keep balance in life. Then, for example, yes, I put again, train your emotion, because that helps the immune system. So we know immune system is working better with pleasure, endorphins, right? So if we feel love, sharing, gratitude, enthusiasm, our immune system work better. So during COVID, that everyone is in fear, this is really dangerous because our immune system inhibit a bit, and so I can get even easily sick. So there are tons of way to increase the emotional level. One of those, for example, is meditation, and I put this also. Meditate. People sometimes criticize meditation if they're far away, like they could criticize yoga, but those are discipline that helps our brain to function well and keep our mind focused and can help to control emotions. So on YouTube, you can find any kind of meditation. Just jump in and have some experience and try. And so I put here, you can have a look if you want, take care about your pets, I don't know, playing an instrument, have good routines. Have good routines. Even if the outside world is changing, it doesn't mean that you have to put your life ups and down. Just stay in safe zone with your brain in order that you keep your balance. And now, oh yes, here we can also, here just put some little factors to sum up a bit what I said. So personal responsibility, this is the key and the most important. Don't expect someone outside of you that will bring well-being to you. It won't happen. This is something that we need to act to create it. Optimistic mindset, okay? Invest, read books, motivational books, try to understand how you function, and also do some meditation, mind the focus, train your attention, stay well in your mind, and keep good routines. So this is a bit the sum up, that if you try every day, I add 15 minutes here, I add 15 minutes there, and at the end of the day, I add 1.5 hours of new things that make me feel good.
Great.
And I just would like to close with this, and I think it's interesting because I don't think there are only students listening to us. It might be even, I don't know, owner of companies, mom, dads that work in companies, and I would like to give some example. Because a human being is a complex system that live in a family, another system. But another system are companies, and then we have the whole environment, right? So companies and families are also demand to take the responsibility to do something to invest in the well-being of their employees and people. And I would like to bring an example here that it was really interesting. With one company I work, I give you an example. Since COVID came and everyone started to do home office, and so they provide with computer, internal course were transferred on the mobile. And after a few months of COVID, the company realized what? That the internal calls grow of the 30%, right? 30% more. And the management were really, really responsible and smart and said, listen, we want to explore now and analyze what happened here. We need to understand if this increase of calls is due because people don't see each other, they are not on the same room anymore, and they need to confront regarding work, or is because they need a social life. Because for many people, the work environment was the social life, right? So I don't have time to go with friends, eating a pizza and going out. But when I go at work, there is my friends and my colleagues. And so we make this analyze. And what it came up that yes, it was due to social needs. So they really need to have social moments. And what happened? Without interventions, of course, if people need to socialize, they're gonna call at each moment when they feel, and they will reduce their performance, right? Because they are distracted, because they need to call the colleagues. And so what we did, every 2 hours, we started to organize with responsible of the team 15 minutes of like a meeting via Zoom where everybody was jumping in for each department, right? And they could share having a coffee and say something what they did the other day. And that was extraordinary because suddenly the calls drop again and the performance increase.
So a virtual coffee break.
Exactly. So this is just to say really, Katarina, that we can act even in difficult moments. We don't have to give everything like if it's lost. We are a human being and we have the power to change things. And of course, for those that needs help, they have to go and search for help. This talk is really to give a bit of faith to people, to students, and to responsibilize a bit the students, maybe to find, the strength within them to act in a positive way.
Which is so important, right?
Exactly. So this is a bit what I wanted to share with you today and just bring you your attention a bit about the self-responsibility, good routines, and the positive mindset that we can develop.
And thank you so much for that, which is so important for us. I have here some questions I would like to discuss with you or to ask you. You have previously underlined some life stress situations, right? Claudia, can you tell us what is for you the first symptoms that people show when they are not well? You are used to dealing with different individuals, you're a coach, right? So different individuals, even companies. Can you tell us what are these first symptoms?
Let's say that when a person starts not to be well in general for stress, as we are all different, that is we have to say, because some start to have, for example, insomnia or really anxiety, they cannot control anymore. They always feel this tension here in the body. And so this creates fear and discomfort, because how do I deal with this sensation, not to having a safe place within me, and how I can do so it stress even more. So usually you can understand when you are under stress, a lot of stress, that your mind direct automatically in negative thoughts, more accelerating mind, less focus at work, more confusion, and negative emotion arise, like frustration, anger, anxiety, and fear are at the core, at the base. And then start to have some symptoms like insomnia or like a stomach ache, I don't digest really good, or like headache, or my breath is really short. So I think that we all know when we are well, and I think that we know when we are not well. So first thing, eat healthy, help your body to recover, sleep well, drink a lot of water, cut on smoking or things like this. Try to give life to your body in order to help your brain to slow down, because stress is an acceleration mode.
Okay. Can I just focus here a little bit on education? Because teaching can be really exhausting, right? It's obviously rewarding, yes, but it can be physically and emotionally draining, right? Do you have an advice, specific advice for maybe teachers that are listening to us? What can they do towards their well-being? Is there something that they can do? Because they really need to refuel, right? To be better teachers, they need to refuel, otherwise they will feel drained.
Exactly. So let me think, because besides what we have already discussed, there are short and cut tips that we can adopt in our life. I think that teachers also, they need to make maybe a bit more pleasure in their daily work. Yes, it's performance. Yes, we need to deliver, stay behind student, but create a joyful environment. And it's not only in class, but also at home. Take it easy, because what you deliver in stress, okay, usually is less than what you deliver when you are enthusiastic and more easy. So
let's just stress that out, okay? That is so important for us teachers, you know, because we tend to forget that.
Look, really, these are values. Let me focus here. These are values. You know, there are many people that want to be perfect, big value, you know, performance, big value. They want to be on top of everything, and they forget to wake up in the morning and to say, oh, today I'm going to put a bit of pleasure in my day, like a magic powder, you know. And if you start to take pleasure in the present moment of what you are doing, it becomes more pleasant, for sure, easy.
And that is not being selfish, right? It's the opposite,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It's
I mean,
the opposite.
if I think on a happy teacher, and if I think, sorry to say, on a frustrated teacher, if I'm a
Exactly.
student, I really would love to have the happy teacher, you know.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Claudia, I've shared this with you before. You know that I'm a Catholic. So for me, it's really natural and easy to be thankful. Okay, I start my morning with saying grace and thanking God for everything good that is in my life. But it was with you or it was you who taught me the importance of being grateful and how big this was for my life, how important it was for me to be grateful, how this changed my life, really. So can we go back to those slides that you were telling us a bit about how we focus on the past, the present, and the future? Because you said something about feeling this gratitude, right? Can you let us know a little bit more about why it is so important and what people can do to achieve this, to try and be grateful?
Sure, maybe just make sure, because people probably are gonna say, but what did they do together that she felt grateful for, right? No, basically, just shortly, with the School of Commerce and the group Encina, so we organize some training to we really focus on mental coaching and neuro training. So they learn how to train their brain to produce, and I use this term, produce gratitude as a feeling in my body. Because as you said, I am a Catholic, so every day I wake up and I thank, you know, for what I have. But when I do this, I do with my mind, right? My mind is the conscious mind. I'm conscious and I think like, thank you, great. But what we wanted to do in that occasion, it was to learn how my brain is able to create this feeling of gratitude, which is a feeling is deep inside us. It's not only in the mind, it's feeling, right? And so, yes, in the slide I said, the first step, as you need the tools to train your body and your brain to create gratitude, the first step, you drive your attention on the present moment and you see everything you have. Why? Because if you open any ancient book, the Bible, or whatever it is in spirituality, you will find be grateful for what you have and life will give you more. In every culture, they say the same. Why? Because when we thank with our mind and our emotion, and we are in peace in our life with what is happening, we actually live in a field of energy. And this, it's abundance. Somehow it gives us back more. The more I feel grateful, and the more I feel even grateful for being grateful. So
Exactly.
it's incredible. It's incredible. But the thing is, of course, here we cannot explain how to reach that level, but it's a training process. Because if for the past 20 years, I've been going on under stress because I have to work, and then maybe I had 2 kids, and then maybe whatever in life it happened, and I'm really stressed, and then I got frustrated, a bit unsatisfied, and then angry, my brain doesn't know anymore how to produce love, gratitude. It's easier because, look, sometimes in my office people come, you know, and I ask them, how do you feel when you are angry, right? And they look at me and they say, no, I'm really angry. And I say, but can you show me really like how do you manifest? And they go there and they say, yes, of course. And they engage the mouth, they engage the face, and they really feel angry. And I say, great. Can you now show me how do you feel when you feel grateful? They look at me lost. Like, what is the sound of being grateful? What is the face of being grateful? What is my body posture when I'm grateful? What is happening inside of me? So the brain needs to be trained to feel those emotions.
The muscle of well-being, right?
Yeah, the well-being muscle, exactly.
Okay, so maybe this has something to do with the difference, and maybe you can explain to our viewers the difference between being a neurotrainer and a mental coach.
Yes, sure. So mental coach is how we use our mind as this schema that I proposed you before. So where I put my attention to find strategies on reasoning, understanding, develop my perception of the world with more logical, so it's a training of the mind. The neurotraining is specifically to do a fitness. So I would like to use this term because everyone knows that is a bit more complicated than this, but it's a kind of fitness of the brain. And the brain, really, you do fitness by changing the brain waves activities. So it's like a lamp. I can turn it on really light, or I can go down a bit more darker. So the brain functioning the same, produce electricity. So we train the brain to stay in specific brain waves rhythm. And in that brain waves, we can really train the brain to feel well, to produce emotions, to open creativity, intuition, well-being. So it's really a state that we train. And when the brain learns to do something, this is really important. It's like when you learn to drive a car, you repeat 1, 2, 3, 4 times this action. In the first place, you had to be conscious about the traffic and everything. But once you integrate the knowledge, it becomes your brain that now drive the car. So you go in the car, you listen to music, you think about your day, you don't think anymore about too much how you drive, but the brain is doing. So we train the brain until the brain can do better than me, and he keep producing that state of feeling within.
That is so powerful, right? It's all about plasticity of the brain and all the synapses that we have, and there is a whole world for us to grasp and to understand, right? Because we are so tiny in this, and there's a lot to learn. I wanted to ask you something different, because I know that you are aware that in our school we have been we try to initiate our teachers and our students in SEL, social and emotional learning, and we try to equip both of them, both students and learners, to manage their emotions, to navigate through their emotions, to practice mindful engagement. But I'm not sure if I told you this, because we inspired ourselves in Silicon Valley, and we came up with this new figure, this new position, which we call, which is called the CHO. Have I told you about this? The Chief Happiness Officer?
Yes,
no,
yes, I've heard that.
Because I know that it's something that you would like. The Chief Happiness Officer is someone. So we have one for each class, or one for each shared workspace, and it's someone who focuses on the well-being of others, which is, I think, amazing, right? Amazing. It's someone who has to develop his or her social awareness, right? And who has to pay attention to others, to see if everyone has a voice, if everyone is well, and to try to come up with measures and propositions for the benefit of the class, or the benefit of the workspace and the peers. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on SEL? Because everyone is talking about it nowadays. And if you think that this is something that schools should be paying more attention to.
Absolutely, yes. Actually, I think that is the education of the future. I mean, it's very complex because of course we need amazing engineer and lawyers and professional, no discussion about it. But today we have amazing engineers and lawyers, but they are not well with themselves or in their family or in the society. People, they become someone in a position, they need to manage other people. So to have this knowledge of social and emotional learning about myself, about social life between me and others, how I feel and how other feels. This would help our society to be more united, more respectful, and a self-understanding change everything in a family, it change everything in a job position. Absolutely. So my best compliment for this initiative because it's extraordinary. And it brings already the smile just to think about that you have, right? So the fact
It
that
is.
I'm about saying it brings up, right?
The CHO, yeah, it is, right. And we also try to, within this SEL, we try to focus on, or to bring our students, and obviously our teachers, but mainly our students, because this is also a huge issue for them, to develop healthy relationships. We see every day not that healthy relationships, right, between couples and even between friends, and everything that has to do with students managing their emotions, their behaviors, trying to understand each other, to be empathetic, to try to understand what others are feeling, why they are reacting. I remember, I also always remember that the image that you showed us of the iceberg. Remember that we only saw the tip of the iceberg when we are dealing and hearing and talking to other people, right? We are always see only the tip of the iceberg. There's a huge whole iceberg underwater that we cannot see, and we try to develop these skills with our students, and to work with them all of these skills for them to be able, obviously, to try to find better solutions, responsible solutions for their problems, and to try to resolve and manage their conflicts better. What can you tell us about this importance? Because I've noticed that you've shown us the importance of the healthy, developing healthy relationships.
Yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
absolutely. Because, I mean, relationships is a big thing. So we could stay and talk days about it because it creates our whole life. I mean, we can be alive and successful thanks to relationships. And we need to bring value in our relationship. And the first value that most of the people miss is care, to care about the other, care about the relationship, and be in caring where we are in when we are in relationship. Why? Because the relationship, it's healthy when there is care. Just give you an example. We, me, you, people are alive today because our mom and our dad, they care about us in the first years of life. Without caring, we won't be here, right? A plant can grow if we care about the plant. So it's always about the relationship of care that we have with the other things we interact or other people we interact with. The level of care we bring in our relationship create a healthy relationships and environment. So first is which value we bring in our relationship, and care is the first. So we really need to put here like with five. Absolutely, because it's something we need to remember, because we cannot expect people to be nice to us or people to valorize or recognize us if we don't show care and bring care into relationship. This is the first. And second message, because we can really talk a lot, but I would like just to give a couple of tips. The second thing is to learn to accept others. This is something, when you accept what the other person is saying or thinking, the problem disappears. Actually, we go into conflict because I don't accept what he say, and I don't want to hear that, and you shouldn't say this, and you shouldn't do that. Come on. We are different. We talk a lot about diversity, but as soon as someone talks, you would like him to talk different as you want. No, let's learn that every person has a past, that as every person have been living something that create its own value system, belief system, his level of education, his level of mind. So when he interact or she interact with us, is not just saying something, is bringing all of this past within one sentence.
So whole baggage, right?
Whole baggage, absolutely, is because life shape us. And so just to accept and don't be surprised. There are people that are surprised. Oh, he talked to me like this. I talk to you like this. Probably you would talk in a different way. But if you accept that he talks to you like this, there is no problem. So to create healthy relationship, it's really an attitude, but a knowledge on how we function. Because one other things, and then I close, but come on, we deal with the brain of each other right now. What is the name of the brain? Is nervous system. It means it's nervous. And people go on other nervous system and they shout. Which reaction you expect? It's nervous system. And nervous system, it means that if you put something like this, it shake. So bring this brain, and cuddle it, take care about the brain of the other person. Is a nervous system. So when you understand how you function, what you are doing, is not because you're blonde or you're dark, whatever. It's a brain out there, it's a mind, it's a past, it's a soul. And we need to learn to respect each other for what we are.
And it always comes back to, it starts with you, right?
In self-responsibility. At the very end, the whole topic we present today is really to empower yourself and to be responsible on how you create your well-being, your relationship, besides outside circumstances. You can do something. This is really the key.
Great. So Claudia, I think that we have here a question from one of our viewers, and it has to do with meditation. Mm-hmm. So if you have little tips for meditation.
Yes, I do. I would like to give the best tips. There is one meditation that I explain in my book that unfortunately is still in Italian, but soon will be translated in English. And I explain this is a meditation based on neurotraining, right? So it's not based on only mind focus. For example, I focus on my feet or on my breath or on a part of my body. But the engagement we do, it's an active meditation to produce emotions. And so I share, it's written in my book, and the person that is asking this question, I invite to write down 10 moments of joy that he or she experienced in life. Not big moment, just open up this space of memory where she or he remember that he felt so joyful. For example, I was sitting on the beach and the warm sun touched my face, and this warm fulfilled me. So it's a soft joy. Or maybe I was, I don't know, swimming with my dad and we were joyful and playing the water, like a more strong joy. It doesn't matter. An intense moment, we know. And when she or he listed the 10 moments of joy, he can close his eyes and try to connect to the first moment of joy, as we did before with the lemon. So with the lemon, we went in the kitchen, we use our hands, we open what we have been touching, the smell, so we activate the nervous system. So I invite the person to focus on the first moment of joy, enter in that memory, and try to feel again the joy. Connect the hearing, what she was listening, what was touching, feel the body, and then go suddenly after to the second moment of joy. Third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At a certain point, the body doesn't know anymore if the joyful moment is now or it was in the past, and he will start to produce this chemical of joy in the body, and he will release the stress automatically. So the more I go in the joy, the more the anxiety goes down.
It's like going to the gym, right?
Absolutely. But if this person try, that she can send an email to you and then you forward to me, and I will be happy to hear what happened.
Of course, yes. So here the challenge.
Exactly.
Yes.
I want to say something else that I think it's important. When we talk about good routines, when we talk about training the brains, when we talk about training the mind, remember that you have to keep doing for a certain period of time. In science, we say 21 days at least, repetition. You want to sleep well, go to bed every day, same hour for 21 days at least, until the brain start to work with me, right? Because changes needs time. We are organic, so it's not a magic stick. So if someone try to do meditation once, it doesn't feel nothing, yeah, of course, maybe I should try every day for a month and see what happened at the very end. So it's a practice always, and it's important to share, because it's not one time that changed life, but it's a constant.
So, and finally, because I think that we're running out of time, Claudia, yes. I have to ask you this, because I think that you know that I feel really privileged to be working with you for all these years, right? You've already stated that in Sinus Group, we have been working in all of the schools from educational institutions from group in Sinus Group have been working with you for what, the past 3 years, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And I really feel privileged about that, and about being with you all of these times and to do all of these training. But what do you think are the benefits of your work, not only at a personal level, like myself, but as you in regards of the companies, because you deal with lots of companies, and you work with different companies, like just like you've worked with Encinos Group. So what are the benefits for you of your work in these companies?
Look, at the very end, Katarina, a company is alive because there are humans working in there, right? So the biggest, if you want, benefit is the self-awareness. When individuals start to understand who they are, where they come from, what they generate with their behavior, how to change the mind, how to change the emotion, how to create communities that work together, in a safe environment, in well-being, there is this shift of awareness, and everything start to make sense, right? And I can see people that were unhappy in their job, and they become so attached and happy and motivated. It's really, we need to understand more about who we are. So there are many benefits, but I think at the very end is the self-awareness that create a collective awareness that work totally different and function totally different than before. So
you're so right. Claudia, thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing everything that you know with our viewers, okay, everything that you talked here. I would like to wish you a very happy and marvelous Easter, okay, and to everyone at home as well, or to everyone who is listening to us. It was a huge pleasure to be here with you, Claudia. It's so great.
Thank you, Katerina.
Thank you so much.
Same for me. So thank you for your school, for your initiative, and for inviting me here. It's always an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Então, muito obrigada a todos os que estiveram connosco, esperamos que tenham gostado. Para mim foi um gosto novamente estar aqui com a Cláudia e acho que foi, enfim, uma hora muito bem passada com umas aprendizagens excelentes agora que vamos para Páscoa e, enfim, para continuar aqui nestes dias desafiantes nesta pandemia que esperemos que melhore. Obrigada e até breve.